Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of Arrhenius Against the Inevitable. Before we do our, yeah, my brain completely turned off because I messed up so badly.
I was wondering if the cat cam was throwing you
Right,
off.
and I'm just like, look, little bun, aww. Before we do our recap of last week's episode, we're going to do a round of introductions. Let's start with Bluu this time. Bluu, tell us about yourself and who you're playing.
Hello, my name is Bluu. My pronouns are they, them. I'm playing Aurora. Also uses they, them pronouns, I think. I forget what pronouns I assign them all the time. The muter cultural researcher who is going on a little expedition with some new buddies. Excited to see where that lands them.
Excellent. And let's move over to Miko. Miko, tell us about yourself and who you're playing.
Hi there, I'm Miko. You can catch up with me on either thegHGM.com or over on Folk and Myth Twitch channel. I am playing the Ozit exploratory scavbot that goes by the name of What?
What?
That also pretty accurately describes their pronouns as well.
Fair. Nice. I like it. The entire state of being in a name.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to see you. Brie, why don't you tell us about yourself and who you're playing?
Hi, that's me. I'm Brie. I use she, they pronouns. I'm going to be playing Winona Searose, who also uses she, they pronouns. Winona is an Ekavir wisdom warrior priestess. She, still trying to figure out what she is, what she's going to be in life. And you can find me in places like most places as brennanicki, or just you can find out everything I do on bizzy-brie.love. Yes, I got that right this time. Yeah, that's me.
Excellent. I am trying to figure out why Stream Elements has decided to... Oh, my message failed to send. We are having all the fun already. Excellent. Let me try typing your command over here. There it goes. There's Brie's information. And let's move over to Kay. Kay, how's it going? Tell us about yourself and who you're playing.
Hey, it's going good. I'm Kay. You can find me use Caden Cosmos and a few other different names. If you are lucky, you can find them. I do some D&D streams. I do some like acting and improv. Today I'm playing a character named Shen. She is very large, very green. I guess the kind, friendly giant, large friendly giant. So hopefully she doesn't die tonight in the cold. We'll see.
I'm hoping that is the case. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Casper, tell us about yourself and who you're playing.
Ocio, I am Casper DMB Ghost. You can find me everywhere at Casper DAMB Ghost. My pronouns are they, he, and tonight I am playing the grubby rat boy that is Yellow Jacket. Grubby rat boy kind of covers it. Their pronouns are they, it, or any, because I am going to forget. So
Fair. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us this week. And last but not least, Ed, how's it going? Tell us about yourself and who you're playing.
It's going good. Like Jeremy said, my name is Ed, tabletop enthusiast. You can usually find me here on Wanderer's Haven, playing this game and a few others. I stream very occasionally on Twitch as Neuromaster. But this evening I will be playing Bruno, the Ekavir hunter. He knows that something terrible has happened to the dome, but maybe even more importantly, his buddy Yellow Jacket has said that this might be the end, and he's really not about that. So looking to try to save the world and do good stuff.
Excellent. And I suppose I should say, hey, I'm Jeremy. Here's my channel. You can find me here, as well as other places that I happen to guest on. I write TTRPG material for my own self here at Wanderer's Haven, as well as doing freelance stuff for like World Press and Onyx Path. And we are playing some Arrhenius tonight. Arrhenius is by Dungeon Teller Games. I really hope this is all working because everything looks like it's freezing up on my end.
I see all the players' information popped up.
Excellent. But now Dungeon Teller... Oh, no, I didn't type in the right thing. Let me just double check. Okay, that's working there. We're going to keep going.
There we are.
And hopefully everything's working. I can't see the stream.
The stream is live.
Okay, cool.
It popped up. The stream is live. Message went through. It's looking good.
If any of you players are watching the stream and you see something kerfuffle, you let me know because I can't tell. So
I'm sure Raven will let us know.
Yeah, except for I
watching.
can't see chat very well. It keeps
I'm watching it.
working
Don't
out.
worry.
So, with all of that in mind, Arrhenius is a game set 100,000 years in the future during another ice age that has wiped out humanity as our descendants know it. Now they struggle to survive. Those left behind on the world as others went out into space or colonized Mars, etc. Those of you who are still here are just struggling to stay warm, survive. And up until now, a lot of you have done all right doing so. But last week we met Bruno and Aurora and Yellow Jacket, who were living inside Dome Ogygia. Ogygia is a continental dome. It is a massive city powered by nuclear power that has, over time, caused the people that live within the dome to mutate. Those who live there the longest and kind of have become their own people are known as muters, or mutants, but muters. Ekavir are people that live out in the great white wastelands of the glaciers and snow and ice fields. And what else did we had? One other... Oh, and scabs. Yeah, good. Yeah. Scabs are also kind of like Ekavir, ones who live out in the elements, but they've congregated in what are known as the retro metros, or the large cities that have fallen to... they're not under the domes, they're not protected, and so the elements have slowly worn them away. And last but not least, our Ozit is a mechanical body with some kind of soul, whether that's programming or whatever your beliefs are, what is.
We prefer to be called technologicals.
Technological beings. Fantastic.
As opposed to, biological.
Right. And so the three of you inside, Yellow Jacket, Bruno, and Aurora, you had realized over the last several weeks, things are just starting to speed up and fall apart. Technology is failing. Heat is becoming harder to contain within the dome. Water filtration systems are shutting down, poisoning the waters that you have, and radiation is just like leaking out into the various pools and lakes that surround Ogygia. And so Dr. Penn, who is Aurora's mentor, had allowed her or recommended, I don't know if he necessarily recommended that Aurora be the one, but Aurora was like, yeah, let's do this. And so Aurora, they decided to get a group together to go out into the cold and try and find something to help the dome to keep the power going. talking with Bruno and Yellow Jacket, who also hadn't realized that these things were happening, you indeed decided to group up and leave. However, while that was all going on outside the dome, Winona and Shan were traveling through the cold, trying to find also an object, not necessarily a specific one. However, Winona is trying to prove themselves as a wisdom, a trusted, would you say advisor or yeah. So you have this mission that you're on to prove yourself, and Shan, having been saved by Winona in the past, is going along to help. However, in the distance, a mechanical being, a technological being, has been studying this duo. As the three groups, yes, I see you. As the three groups are heading towards one another, Watt had noticed the sound of wings and had become aware that something was following. Raven says, I love hearing Libby's irritated ear flappies. Yeah, she's very upset with me right at the moment. As the group, the outside group, realized they were getting close to a dome, they could see the dim light of it in the distance. Whatever it was above decided to attack. And as it descended, what jumped out and launched a grappling hook, scoring a hit through its wing, the rope pulling taut as you dig in to try and drag this creature from the sky. And it was just then that you realized something else was coming at you from your side, plowing into you. That is where we ended last week's game. So now, here on Alba Rodeo, we have a general setup of what everything looks like. We have what over here? I forgot how to ping. Can I ping? This is what? Shan and Winona are in the center here, and Aurora, Bruno, and Yellow Jacket are off over here, just barely able to see what's that there's some kind of kerfuffle going on as this windstorm is kicking up ice and snow in your faces. Thanks, Raven, for the pup retreat. I'm going to deliver that now so I don't forget. We're going to go ahead and start by rolling initiative while I deliver this. So we're going to roll.
So is it D10 or D20?
Yes, we're going to roll a D10. You're going to add your initiative bonus, which should be on your sheet. I'm going to roll for these silly creatures.
I got a 9.
Okay.
Jeremy, one thing that we didn't resolve, I don't think, last week was whether or not what took any damage from the flying creature that plowed into them.
You have
0,
not.
10.
Okay.
Nice.
I got a
Bruno
10.
got a 5 for initiative.
All right, we got Bruno at a 5, 10 for Yellow Jacket. Who got the 9?
Me, Blue. Aurora.
And 7 for Shan.
I also got a 7.
Excellent.
Nice.
You want to fight for it?
I got a 10 plus 2.
12.
Well,
Perfect. Perfect.
Whoa.
Awful. The group of you have unintentionally met up in the blowing snow, the frozen wastes outside of Dome Ogygia, and 2 large feathered, kind of like vultures but somewhat twisted, have attacked. The one was swooping down to get Winona and Shen. However, as it crashes into the ground, thanks to what's quick actions of launching a grappling hook line through its wing, another swoop down to smash into what? So at this point, there's one dragging what, while the other one is snapping at Winona. Winona, what do you do?
Okay, so is there like a mechanic like if I try to back up,
Mm-hmm.
will they get an opportunity attack? Is there a mechanic like that in this game or no?
I have not seen anything. I'm not going to say that there is, but there is like a there is like a strategic retreat kind of thing. However, it is not close enough. What actually drug it out of the sky before it got to you? So you are not engaged with it.
Bet. Okay, so I am going to take this opportunity. I think Winona would be like shocked because they were fully prepared to shoot what in the face. So I think now they like take a quick moment to reassess, and Winona just kind of backs up. Is the type of person that will shoot and ask questions later.
Fair.
So Winona is gonna take out their hunting rifle, which is a low-tech gun, and try to shoot at this closest bird.
Okay.
So I get a +6 to my attack bonus if I did this calculation correctly, and I roll a d20.
Correct. I also am going to start our frost clock because
We're in the cold.
you are outside. Now that the kerfuffles are hopefully over with.
Dang, I only got a 16.
All right, so you pull your gun out, whip it around, try and fire off. There's just like so much adrenaline kicking in. Your shot goes wide. Aurora, Yellow Jacket, in the distance, you hear a gun go off. There's the crack of, this was like a gunpowder gun, right? This is not like a laser gun or something like that. Is that right, Winona?
Yeah, it's like a hunting rifle, so it's like a low-tech gun.
Okay, yeah.
It's not like full laser, but it's definitely like there's some specialties to it.
Gotcha. So yeah, you hear the report go off. You can see the closest bird, and your gut kind of drops because you know what these are. These hunted your people in the Retro Metro, and you were hoping to never see them again after you left. What do you do?
So I heard a gun go off, and I see giant doll makers. So I'm gonna find the nearest hole
Okay.
and burrow.
Why don't you make a survival check for me, and you see what kind of cover you find.
Okay. Come on, big old chunky boy. Well, that's a 1 on the die, but that's a 15 total.
Oh, whoo. Okay. So
You're grounded.
Right? I banish the. As you look around, the ground is the ice is just so hard. There's like a thin layer that's kind of kicking up from the wind and like biting at your skin, but you're not seeing anything that you can dig into. So you kind of scamper around for a moment and are unsuccessful in finding anything. Aurora, same kind of thing. You notice in the distance there are two figures that seem to be fighting or something. There's some kind of scuffle going on between them and a large bird figure that's flopping around on the ground, making horrendous screeching noises. What do you do?
So, Winona and I are related, and I'm wondering if I recognize that this is Winona in this moment. Do I see the individuals clearly?
You don't see them clearly, but we can do a quick check just to see. My brain is like,
would
it's a
love to.
perception check.
Right?
Observation. Just do a quick observation to see whether or not you can tell.
What is my observation? Okay, cool. Ba-da-ba. Let's roll this bad boy. Okay, 21.
That's exactly what you needed. I feel like something... Oh, right, luck points. Have you... But those reset, right? So make sure everyone that you have reset your luck points from last game. Because you haven't spent any, your 21 doesn't grant you any back. However,
Right.
it does succeed. And as you're looking, there's this brief moment where Winona kind of turns and, like, the way that they're raising the rifle to fire, you're like, that's my cousin.
I think when Aurora clocks that it's Winona, they're like, oh fuck, okay. And they like scramble for their own rifle. And they take a knee, and I want to aim. Okay, so I just read about this really cool mechanic in the book.
Nice.
Whatever. It's called shots.
Yeah.
And I just want to try it out because
Sure.
why not? These are winged creatures. I
Uh-huh.
want to aim for a wing. I want to aim for its wings, so
Okay.
that way it can't get away. So I think, let's see, that rifle, that's an agility. Okay. So I would add, so it's a low-tech rifle. It's 1d12 damage. I add my agility to this roll, question mark?
Are you asking as far as the called shot goes?
As far as just the weapon period, do I roll
Agility for
technique?
ranged, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, knowing that I add a 6 to it.
And then called shot -2, I think, right?
Right.
Yep. I think I'll call a 12. Oh gosh. I just got nervous. Damn it. I rolled a 24.
Okay. So if I remember right, you still hit, but you're not doing the bonus
That
of the
extra
called
damage.
shot. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll your damage as far as just the gun damage goes.
Cool. That is 1d12.
Nice.
Here's a d12. 12. Not bad.
You aim for the wing, and it's really hard to see this, but essentially the way that it is currently trying to pull itself forward, and the tow cable, essentially, that what has like stabbed it with, is pulling it back, and so it goes to go forward, and you try to shoot its wing. However, it turns its head towards you, and you just shoot it right through the eye. It shudders for a moment and collapses to the ground.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. I didn't expect that. Nice.
However, the one behind begins to flap. You can't see this. So we have Yellow Jacket and Aurora and Bruno. You can hear this, but you can't see it. However, Winona and Shan, you see this other one grasping this technological person and begins to flap. It starts to head up into the sky. However, it needs to do a check here because that rope is really just kind of anchoring it down. Oh, you see it, like, it hits a certain point and the rope goes taut. It snaps around and just kind of starts to fall back towards the ground. It is currently in the sky with what held in its claws. It is either What or Shan's turn. Who would like to go next?
Okay, I will go. So the one directly in front of me is decimated.
It is, yeah, you heard another crack go off behind you. You didn't see them, or you didn't see what fired, but then just like kind of blood just erupts from this creature's head and it collapses.
Okay, Doesn't feel like a warning shot, so I'm probably safe. I have a crossbow. Could I attach my rope to it to make another, and shoot the creature so that it has another rope and it's a Macy's Day Parade. I'm gonna pull it down.
Fair, yeah, I love it.
Awesome. Okay. Do I need to do something to MacGyver that, or roll something to MacGyver that, or should I just roll to hit?
Nope, you could just roll to hit.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that is yeah, +4. Okay. That is a nat 20 +4 for 24.
Amazing. So
we're doing good.
you have critted. So you're going to double your dice, or you can double your outcome of your damage roll.
Okay. That is 3, so not great. So 6 altogether.
6 total. There is a twang as this bolt goes shooting forward. It does hit this creature, which is unable. They were completely terrible at rolling their defenses. You have successfully speared it with another rope.
Awesome.
And you did some damage to it. Perfect. And so the other person on that same, so at the same time, what's going on? What's thinking, processing?
All right.
Yeah.
Had to take care of something on another screen. I think what is immediately going through the process of trying to figure out where to put the leverage on the thing's talons to pry the talons away from it so that it can be released from its grasp.
Sure. So you want to break free of this grapple check is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
All right. So you are going to do, I believe, a strength check. Sorry, a brute force check.
Okay.
It is at a... Oh, no, it is not at a -2. This is relatively the same size as you. So you don't have them...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's larger, but it is not outside of your size category.
Gotcha.
So you're not gaining that penalty.
So I add 14 to this because my brute force is actually pretty decent. So 14 plus, what is that? 14, so 28.
Oh, no chance. Yeah, you just reach down, you nerve pinch it, it shrieks, lets you go. You do fall unless you want to hold on to yourself. Hold on to it.
No.
Okay.
I don't think what cares overly much about that aspect as much as the imminent danger of it flying wherever it wants to go and what not having any control over that aspect. So the logical choice would be to simply fall.
All right, so you are going to fall. You need to make an athleticism check.
Okay. Athleticism isn't bad either. That's plus 13. I'm going to go ahead and use a luck point on it.
Okay.
To use it. So that is 12 plus a total of 14 for a total of 26.
Oh, absolutely. So you will... You actually manage to, as you fall, there is a jarring sensation as you hit the ice. However, you have stopped yourself from taking damage. It was just close enough to not. This Arrhenius uses a step-up dice system, so as you get higher, your chances of not taking damage, even on a success, go down. You did not get that high, so perfect. That brings us to Bruno.
So I think Bruno unsheaths his shish kebab, his sword,
Okay.
activates the trigger to set it aflame, and goes charging towards the birds. How does movement work? I know that I can move 14 squares.
Yeah. So
If I run.
So there's no grid on the map. But you should be able to do a... I need to get over to the window. There we go.
Oh.
You can get to the end of that line.
Okay. So I can... That's 14 squares turns out to be 90 feet of movement.
As long as I'm mathing correctly.
Cool. Okay.
Oh no, it
so
should be 70, shouldn't it? 14 times 5 is 70. Sorry, should be there.
Okay. So that's not close enough to get me in any kind of melee range. So I guess what I will do instead is Bruno will fix his gaze on the remaining bird, and he will just shout and screech and wave his flaming sword at it.
Okay.
Trying to sort of intimidate it or drive it off.
Okay, so is this a, like scaring it away, or is this a come at me, do it, kill me?
I mean that sort of depends on just how much of a player this bird thinks he is, right? Does he want a piece of this, or does he want no part of this? But Bruno is certainly presenting himself as a flaming warrior of birdie death.
Nice. Let's do a presence roll.
That bird to do something about it. That is a nat 20 plus 12.
Amazing. Hello, Raiders. Thanks so much for joining us. As the bird kind of flops around in the air, there's this cord going from this 3-armed person that you've never seen before, and they're just kind of like digging in and holding the bird down, and it shrieks as it looks at you. There's this look of fear in its eyes as the fire from your sword like ignites and flashes at it, and it does try to fly away, but it can't. It is currently held in place by this here muter with 3 arms. However, I am going to give it some penalties if it does something in retaliation for your display of intimidation. And that'll bring us back to the top. Winona.
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing this bird like desperately trying to get out of here. And I just can't. Anyways,
it's having flashbacks from when like its cousin was like caught by somebody who like rotisserieed it, and it's just like, no.
Yeah, Winona is like Winona absolutely sees the efforts that are being made by everybody, and Winona should probably tell Shan to let this bird go and it could go away. But Winona's not gonna do it. Winona's gonna shoot it.
Fair.
And I think Winona, especially after like Winona has no idea who killed the bird in front of them, but Winona has an inferiority complex, so she's like, I need to I can't let this random person that I don't know one up me.
Right.
So, I rolled a 19 plus 6 is 25.
Absolutely hits.
Cool. And I'm gonna roll my little 1d12 once I find it. Here we go. No, that's an 8. I know how dice work. There we go. I also rolled a 12. I'm not joking.
What happens when you shoot this thing? How does it die?
So Winona absolutely like had a little bit of embarrassment at missing the first shot. And than it immediately being killed by somebody else. So I think Winona kind of like gets down on like where one knee is up. The rifle is held up to her shoulder. She takes like a deep breath and out, steadies her breathing, and then just shoots through the scope and hits it right in between the eyes.
Nice. It comes crashing to the ground next to you, shudders for a moment, and then is still. Make an observation check.
Can do.
Oh, sorry. What?
Oh, okay, got you.
Because what is furthest over that direction?
Sure. 33.
Overhead, you can hear wings flapping. Seems smaller, and they fade away off to the east as the bird next to you comes to a rest.
Okay.
As everyone stops, the wind is still tearing at your clothing, biting your skin. If your eyes are exposed, you're blinking back the ice and snow that's blowing around. However, Aurora, that's Winona over there.
Aurora absolutely like had shot the first one. I think put the rifle back as soon as it fell and was gonna make their way over. So I think that's exactly what they're doing now. They're just kind of trotting over to Winona and they call out, Winona? Winnie?
So Winona absolutely turns around and is like, looks you up and down. Are you like bundled up? I'm assuming we're all bundled up because it's cold out here.
You are,
Bundled up,
however,
but the hood is like down. So the little like anemone horns or what have you are like fully out. They like have their scarf around their neck and they look positively confused.
Winona looks Aurora up and down and is like, I'm sorry, have we met?
even though everyone is bundled, and as this comes out of Winona's mouth, I need everyone to make a resilience check because we have hit our first 20 minutes of the frost clock.
Check.
This is exciting. Okay.
Is it just a D20 for the frost check?
It is a D20, yeah, and you're going to add your resilience,
Okay.
which is under intellect.
31 for me.
Okay. Anyone fails, so got under a 21, let me know.
12.
Okay, Shan, what did Shan get?
An 11.
Okay.
Bruno also failed with an 11.
Okay.
Yellow Jacket failed with a 16.
Okay. That everybody?
I got 26. So
Yeah. I got over 30. I did not fail.
All right, so Bruno, Yellowjacket, and Shan, as you're standing there and the wind's biting, there's just like a little shudder that goes through your body. You're trying to like cover up your exposed bits. Now that you're not in combat, as you put out the fire of your sword, Bruno, the sudden cold seeps in. The three of you are going to lose a frost point. And now remember, on your sheet, don't change your maximum, just change your current available, so you remember to go back to your maximum later. All right. So please continue now that has occurred. And we'll start the frost clock
Winona
again.
says that, and you actively see like a vein pop in Aurora's forehead, and they will move closer to Winona and stand like directly in front of her, and they're like, "Are you fucking serious right now?"
I think Shan, not knowing what the vibe is, would have like with someone coming up being like, "What the fuck?" I think they're taking a slightly more protective position, trying to step in front of Winona unless they call me off.
Okay, do you want to describe to Aurora what Shan looks like?
Oh yeah, I think to really get after we have killed these monsters, I'll have taken off like my hat thing. My long black hair is in a very long ponytail. I've got two big thick ass horns coming out the top of my head. Big, large, and green. Big, butchy, delicious. Anyway, but yeah, she's not looking. Oh yeah, a third arm. There's 3 arms, so like she's definitely like crossing 2, and the third one's on a hip, like flexing a little bit too. She's asking you to ask which way something is, so she can start pointing.
What's this over there?
But it's not. She doesn't look unfriendly, but she is taking a step forward, meeting you in front of Winona.
Brie losing their shit is like so good. As Kay is explaining this, I'm eating right now. I love it.
I literally can't stop laughing.
Laugh mode has been stuck on. Reset.
Oh my gosh. Aurora sees Shan take that defensive position in front of Winnie, and Aurora will take a step back, look at Shan up and down with a sort of raised eyebrow, very much like, who the fuck is this? And Aurora's like, hi? You guys are welcome, first of all. I don't know. Maybe you looked like you were in danger, so you're welcome for that. Hi, I'm Aurora. Who you are? And they hold out a hand to shake.
Complete composure change while looking at Winona for a second and be like, hi, I'm Shan. Winona saved me in the cold waste, and thank you for, I guess, saving me as well.
Winona saved you in the cold ways. Then they lean over to look behind Shan at Winona.
Winona rolls her eyes and is like, yes, okay, thank you, but we would have been fine if you hadn't done anything. And then I think this is at this point where Winona gets a good look at you, and it's because in my brain I imagine your anemone horns were not fully grown when Winona last saw you.
Cute little nubs,
so,
yeah. We were kids.
Mm-hmm. So Winona's like, okay, connecting the dots, mathematician over here. And then is like, oh. And it's like, Roro?
Hi.
Hi.
Why are you out here?
Why are you
coming to the dome?
No.
Sorry, while they're talking,
yeah.
Can Yellow Jacket still be burrowing through the snow and whatever? Because it's freaking cold out here.
Yeah. So I do want to throw out there. So for those of you who aren't conversing, Yellow Jacket. So remember there was the automated sled that Dr. Penn had sent you with, which has a shelter and stuff in it. So you can go over and set that up if you want, but if burrowing is what you would like to do, I have at it.
Yeah, no, because I'm a go on instinct. I saw giant birds and I am Ratman, so we're gonna burrow.
Sure.
To see if there is a secret tunnel entrance, anything I might have missed out here in the cold waste.
Totally. Do you have an ice pick or anything?
I've got a new energy knife.
You could probably use that instead and try and melt out some snow to get started. This surface is just very difficult to get through.
Bet. All right, I'll use my energy knife.
Okay.
Which I don't know how much that is.
So roll that and roll your d20. Add your attack bonus, which was on the knife, it should have said if it was strength and agility or Do you recall what?
Oh no, you gave me the energy knife, so I never looked it up.
Fair.
Sorry.
Well, for now, let's go with strength agility. Strength agility. So add those
Okay.
two to your roll.
All right, so strength is a 6, and my agility is a 6. So whatever I roll plus 12.
Nice.
And since digital dice is evil, and big chunky boy is evil, why do all of my dice hate me? What's 9 plus 12?
That's what you needed. 21. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Nice. So you sit down and imagine it's not quite like a butter knife lightsaber, but it kind of like glows a little bit as you activate it, and it begins to hum, and kind of some mist arises as the snow that you're cutting through evaporates, and yeah, you start to like kind of dig down and burrow out a little hole. While you're burrowing, what is Bruno up to?
I think Bruno is gonna start by just coming over and sort of introducing himself, just waving a little bit. I think he sees right that Aurora and Winnie look like they are kin, right, in the way that they are interacting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he approaches Winnie and says, "Hello, my name is Bruno. I'm a friend of Aurora's from Ogigia."
Yeah, we're and that's Yellow Jacket. They like point at them behind them at Yellow Jacket stabbing at the ice. We came out for an expedition.
Oh, I assumed that they wouldn't let people out here anymore after. Well, it doesn't matter. It's lovely to see you, darling. And then Winona like gives you like a hug, gives like a little like a prim and proper like little cheek kiss, and is like, Bruno and Yellow Jacket. Is that
Yep.
Are they okay?
Hide your yellow things. You will not see them again.
Winona does do a check on her person to make sure she ain't got no yellow stuff, and also does a check on Shan to be like, this, put it in your pocket, and lock it. Thank you. Okay, so you three are together, so nobody knows who that is.
And
right?
speaking of that,
looks around like,
what has what been doing during this?
I think what, whether anyone noticed or not, just like sat up in the snow, you know, kind of Undertaker style, was laying flat on their back and just like sits straight up, and was just looking around for a bit before slowly climbing back up to its feet and just standing there kind of observing things at a distance. What has a very, very good observation, so I think they can probably hear the conversation that's been happening.
Gotcha.
Based on the distance, and completely unfazed by what is being discussed, and is just standing there observing.
I am going to have you roll the observation check, just because the wind is actually blowing from behind you. It might be messing with you a little bit. Okay.
Like an Arrhenius lore-ish question. Like, how common are all of the different people? Because we have the scabs, the muters. Like, am I going to see other people like what anywhere across Arrhenius, or are they, you know?
So last game we
We
it was
talked a bit about
determined that those from Dome Ogygia have not seen Ozits before. But you're not from Ogygia. You're from a different dome. So were there Ozits in your dome?
Ooh, I think there were, and they were. I think in the dome that I'm from, Toxas City. I think there's like pretty rigid roles for people, so I'll work on that for Ozits.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I would say for those of you, so Shan and Winona, you've probably seen Ozits previously, but Bruno, Aurora, and actually Yellow Jacket, you're not from Ogygia. You found the like mechanical
bones.
hands and stuff, right? But you weren't totally sure what they were for. So we're gonna say with you haven't really seen Ozits much, if at all.
I know the legends of like shifters among my people,
Right.
and that's about it.
We
Yeah,
had that back and forth on
Yeah.
what they were called.
shifters.
Yeah.
It is also fair to say that What's form is humanoid. And
Yeah.
Many Ozits do not necessarily have that. What's form is distinctly humanoid, and their chassis is like an armored steel chassis. So, and plus they have the fabric kind of draped across their chest and such. So I think people that don't necessarily know Ozits well could still misinterpret
I was about to say,
as looking or as being something besides an Ozit.
yeah, is there a chance, like, are you large enough that a person could fit within armor
Yes.
that looks like this? So
Yes.
at this point, let's actually say none of you are sure on what that is, other than a person.
And I got a 22 on my observation check.
Yeah,
one
that was-
away from getting my luck point back.
Yeah, perfect. That's you've been able to pick up the gist of the conversation that's going on over there while you're watching.
Sure. I think I would also check on the. Not that I doubt it. That there's not that I think there's a problem, but I think that what would also be doing a check on the on his monofilament wire, that the grappling, his hidden compartment grappling arm thing, just to make sure it is undamaged.
So the other end of it is currently embedded in the wing of the one that crashed into the ground.
Oh, it cut through the monofilament wire?
No. Like your grappling hook is through the wing, so you have to like either detach the monofilament wire and leave your grappling hook there, or walk up or you could try yanking it out from here.
No, I think that what would approach and be reeling in the wire and
Okay.
remove it from the carcass of the creature.
If can I see if Yellow Jacket notices big metal man scavenging from the doll maker? Is what I'm calling the bird thing.
I love that name for them.
Gotcha.
You say they pull people up and then drop them,
Right.
So doll maker is what
I just
call
connected
it.
the dots,
Right.
and I am shocked.
Don't think it would be difficult to notice
Right.
doing that.
Like I feel like as you're digging out, you can hear the wire like being retracted. There's like that zzz of it being wound up. Not so much scavenging as what walks up and like rips out their own grappling hook.
I think there's a little bit of care to that, though. I don't think it is like tearing and rending and such. I think that there's purposeful execution of removing the grappling hook in the way that the grappling hook went in to cause the least amount of damage and that sort of thing. There's definite care being taken.
Through Yellow Jacket's lens, it's scavenging. So they're going to it's gonna just kind of like go over because they haven't been close to a doll maker ever. They make it a point to avoid them. So
Fair.
they want to like poke at it and see, like, know thy enemy to know thyself kind of situation. But in this thing was strong and took out a lot of my kin. So I want to know.
Yeah.
I think as Yellow Jacket approaches, what would say, "Be cautious now. These creatures' scents are extremely profound, and if you were to be smelled from distance, having touched one, you might attract attention of unwanted other biological entities."
It did though, right?
Oh, this is very deceased.
All right, then. Being careful. In Yellow Jacket's regard, basically they take their bow and start poking at it, which is basically a kid poking at it with a stick, to see if there's anything like sharp on it or anything that could be scavenged, and be like,
Yeah, as you look at it, you can tell that its beak is pretty gnarly. Like it's a very thick chitin, so you could probably like be used to like dig in the snow if you were to like scavenge it. It has some claws that are pretty dagger-like.
yep, but we'll be taking those.
Quick question: can these be eaten?
Why don't we do a recall check to see if you know whether or not you should eat one of these?
That recall. Let me get my. Oh. Okay, that's pretty good. Ooh. Oh wait, no, I can't read.
Can I use their feathers for insulation?
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna scavenge the mess out of this, whatever that roll is.
16 plus 12, so whatever that is.
28. Yeah, nice.
Okay. Cool.
You're kind of looking it over. It seems to be safe. There are some signs of mutation on it. Whether or not it is enough, like if there is a... It essentially looks like a large bird, but there are some signs of mutation, so it has been afflicted with some level of radiation.
Okay, so I think Winona, while everybody is doing this, Winona is gonna talk to Aurora, but like kind of like a walk and talk thing. Like they are going in and they are like looking for anything that's like worthwhile on this thing, in the same way that Yellow Jacket is, but different. Like anything that like would be noteworthy for the clan, but also like, you know, we gotta stock up on food, we gotta stock up on hide and feathers and stuff just in general. And I think that there's like this air of like casualness, almost like this isn't the grand reunion that like it is. And Winona's just like, Roro, what are you doing out here? I mean, the dome is, you know, your home. It's your stable place. And as like this is happening, Winona's just taking a huge knife and is just like cutting away at pieces.
Okay.
I think
are
Aurora
you...
would have followed. Oh, go ahead.
No, my question is, are you on mine or are you on the one that you shot?
I'm at the one. Well, which one are you on?
The closest one to me.
So the closest one to everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would
I'm all
probably
up here.
be. Yeah, I probably would have gone to the one that I shot because I'm proud of it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And I don't like to share.
We're good. We're good.
I just, in my head, I see...
I don't know you, so...
All right, Winona like starts
Yellow
walking
Jacket over
towards the
stuff,
bird.
like-
Yeah. There's like this growl. His Yellow Jacket just like...
Not to tattle to the teacher, but it's
We
20
just hit
minutes.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the
Heck.
teacher is great.
I was gonna do it. Same Blue. You and me, both on the same.
We're all gonna roll some resilience checks. Okay, I'm
None
not.
of my dice like me.
No!
None of my dice like me. I
Put
have
them
tried
all in jail.
all of them.
No,
Right
I
on that
did
20.
fail this one. I got a 16. I
Okay.
did fail this one.
If you got under a 21, so 20 or below, you're going to lose another frost point.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming there is no like help mechanic or anything that I can be doing in relation to this, right?
Not that I saw.
Okay.
Not as far as
Alright.
these go. It's
Because what's really good at resilience?
Right.
I got a 30. So.
it's the lack of worm squishy bits that you don't need to worry about so much. It's hard to frostbite you, but you can wear down over time.
I am going to like. How long does it take me to scavenge at least the beak, the claws, and as many feathers as I can get my hands on? I don't really care about the meat
Sure.
at this point because I am still full, from the last time I ate, and like there are new people here. We don't know, so like, I just want to try and get warm. Is Yellow Jacket's main goal. So
The
how long
Yellow
would it
Jacket
take for that
failed
for me?
another check.
Yeah.
Yes, Yellow Jacket did.
Okay. I think
Shit.
then I can help with the scavenging aspect of it. So I think that What's observation is sufficient enough to notice Yellow Jacket's difficulties with the cold, and at least assist in the scavenging of the feathers.
So you can do that, but as you attempt to, does Yellow Jacket allow you to? Is the important
That is
question.
the question.
I did retrieve my own weapon from the carcass of the creature.
And he left it. And in Yellow Jacket's mind, it's technically his kill or Big Metal Guy's kill. He did it. So I was like, look, buddy, hey, no problems.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So what and Yellow Jacket begin like plucking feathers as quickly as possible. What's Bruno up to?
Bruno's now failed to
Okay.
two of those
Same with-
resilience
oh,
checks
no.
in a row,
Oh,
so I
shit.
think he's starting to shiver. A
Gotta
little
be a
bit.
short campaign.
Right.
And I think he's really not it. He's more interested in the cold than he is the birds or anything like that. He's hunted enough to know that there's really not anything worthwhile on these creatures. So I think he's probably singled out the mechanical man as like the obvious outsider between, these other parties seem to know each other.
Right.
But I think he's gonna go over to what? And did he hear the conversation that what had with I forget who it was who was scavenging earlier.
Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket.
With Yellow Jacket.
I don't see any reason why not.
Yeah.
What is
Okay.
not being quiet?
And everyone was close enough at that point that the
Yeah.
wind wasn't being problematic.
What has two modes? Quiet mode, you will never hear what. And then not quiet mode, everyone will hear what.
Like a megaphone flips around,
Right.
just announces. Okay.
So I think he's gonna sort of shivering come over to the Ozit and sort of point at him and say, you use big words. Are you wise? Science? Our dome is freezing.
This is a known issue with many domes. It is not unheard of for such things to occur. You seem cold, biological friend. I would recommend finding warmth as soon as possible. Do you need assistance in such tasks?
Yes, for me, but also for the dome.
The dome is not much my concern. You, however, are of a concern, as is your friend here, and the others who may be suffering similar fates. We should find warmth as soon as possible. the sooner that we can remove the feathers that this one, and what gestures towards Yellow Jacket, that this one requires, the sooner we can find warmth.
And since y'all are not like, I imagine Winona hears this, so
Mhm.
I think like Winona will mention like, well, I suppose you guys can come back to our little home, our little hideaway amongst the depths. Just mind your manners. Don't touch anything you're not supposed to, and there will be no problems. And everyone can get warm and reassess whatever you're doing.
I think
Yellow.
Aurora.
No,
Oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Aurora. Go ahead, Aurora.
My bad. I think Aurora looks at Winona and is just taking stock of everything that's happening. And Aurora will point over to the sled that we have and look at Bruno and say, we do have tents if we are going to be here for a while, but we probably shouldn't. I think we should get moving soon. And I do want to take a look at the bird to see if the bird like is also being affected with that like bioluminescent material that Aurora scooped up a sample of.
Gotcha. All right, so make an observation check, and while you're rolling that, I do want to also point out, so while you were stocked with a shelter, that shelter is for yourself, Yellow Jacket, and Bruno, with a little bit of room for like supplies to go inside. For all 6 of you to fit inside would be cozy.
I think
Right. Okay,
at the
that's fair.
mention of the tent, I think Bruno is gonna turn and point at the entrance to the dome, which is like right over there.
I mean, it's off a ways, but yeah, it's within traveling distance, totally.
And just sort of ask very pointedly, where are we going? Tents?
I'm not sure. We're looking for something to help the dome, and they'll look to Winona. You mentioned a hideaway. Where is this? Your home, or
Yes, our home, my Ekavir tribe.
are you? Is it also a dome?
No, not. It's not a dome in the way that you see it, but it's still a place that is warm. We have our own methods of keeping warm. Our homes are and huts are built to sustain this type of cold, frigid weather. And you can all be my guests for the time being, temporarily.
Yellow Jacket's gonna saunter up, covered in just like feathers poking out of like every place you can stuff a feather, like all of the pockets under the thing. He's itchy, but it's fine. He's got like the beak hanging off, like tied off, or like because he tried making a little mask out of it and it wasn't working, and it's just like, we're gonna tie it off here.
This is horrifying. Like, it's all frozen on you at this point. There's just like this ice is starting to build up. There's like a little bit of gore.
Yeah. He's got like the claws, but they're just like wrapped around with rope around his like forearms now, and he's like, where? Which way?
So real quick, I do want to see what Shan's been doing while this is all going on.
Yes.
Shan's just been freezing their ears off. I think they put their like balaclava back on. They're like, they're antsy. They've been slowly moving further and further away from the group, like towards the camp, because they were over being out in the cold, like
right, fair,
a while, like at the beginning of their trip with with Winona. So just functionally being cold, being sad about it.
So Winona and Shan know that it would take about 20 minutes, and What knows this as well, although Winona and Shan don't necessarily know that What knows this. It's about 20 minutes of a walk from here to where the Ekavar tribe is currently living. do you all want to essentially finish loading up this stuff and head that direction? Do you, Bruno, seem to question going back to the dome? You could set up the tent and everyone can like sardine inside of it. What's the plan?
I don't
Yellow-
think Bruno
Sorry.
wants to go back to the dome. He just thinks that it's dumb to set up a tent like 20 feet outside the dome.
It's like when I was a kid and I just go camping in the backyard. Totally.
It's exactly that, actually. I got a 31 on that
frostbite.
check also.
Nice. Sorry, can you refresh my memory? What was that check for?
Yes, to see if the birds were like also kind of
Right.
infected with that bioluminescent.
As you're looking at it, you don't see any signs of infection, or there are signs of radiation poisoning, of like them being altered by some kind of acute exposure, but you're not seeing any of that bioluminescence to it.
Okay.
Well, I think we're all happy to go to the camp.
Okay.
Lovegood camp?
Wait, is it Lovegood? Or... No, it's Seafoam. Wait, no, I can't remember.
Should be Love Good.
Seafoam?
No,
Okay.
love good for you. Seafoam for dome.
Okay, cool.
Right.
So like, all right. I shall bring you all to Lovegood. Let's go. And I look at Yellow Jacket specifically, and I'm just like, don't touch anything that is yellow.
Yes.
That is an odd
Yes, you.
request.
I think Aurora like sees what and it's like, "Hi, Aurora here. This is our friend Yellow Jacket. My friend Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket really likes yellow, so just in ceiling. So be careful."
There's nothing wrong with the color yellow.
No, it's a great color. They're just looks at Yellow Jacket. I don't know.
It's a
I
problem
actually
when
don't
you
have an
choose to
answer.
steal things that are yellow.
Yellow Jacket doesn't steal.
Okay. Winona
Alright.
does not believe you.
You can't steal what's yours.
In what point does it become yours?
When it's yellow.
Say my name. Come on.
Okay.
If I could suggest we proceed with haste. Many of you are suffering tremendously under this cold.
Oh yeah, say less. I am chasing after three-armed big buff person. And I was just like, they're going that way, Yellow Jacket's going that way, high kneeing it at basically just to get out of here. It's cold.
Okay. So everyone loads up. You get your little skiff. You start heading, following Winona through the cold. And as you head towards where Clan Lovegood is currently residing, we're going to take a short break. I feel like we didn't play for an hour and a half. Oh, that's because we had tech problems. But it is about that time, so we're going to take a short break. Come back in about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll see you then. Bye. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging out while we took our little break. Good to see everybody. We are currently traveling through this ice storm. Visibility is low. You are all fighting the chill as it sets into your bones, except for who seems to be quite resilient to it. I'm going to have Shan and Winona make some survival checks, though it hasn't been very far that you've gone off from where the Ekavar tribe set up their camp. You are in the middle of a storm and it is easy to get lost, so...
All right. Fingers crossed, and I have 3 hands for it. So there's a cat in the way. That's 13 plus 13, so 26.
Amazing. Did Winona out do that, or
Oh no, Winona got a 19. I have rolled a 13 and I have a +6.
Okay,
Survival.
all right. I mean, well, now you're feeling pretty confident that you're heading the right way, but every so often you kind of like glance over at Shan, who's just like an arrow heading through the storm back to where the camp is.
Yeah, I don't make it obvious, but I know that like Shan's cold will guide her. So I'm like,
And Shan's keeping it subtle too. If they'll make eye contact every once in a while, like Shan's eyes will dart in a direction, being like, "Okay, let's head that way."
Perfect.
Yellow Jacket is basically Shan's shadow at this point.
So Yellow Jacket, you're actually the first to notice there's this scent of delicious cooking something. It kind of like whispers past your nose and is gone, and then you'll catch it again. And then up ahead, the rest of you notice something. Winona, what is it that they notice?
so you see, like I imagine that they hear like whirling or whatever. And that's the first thing they hear, and then you kind of see like this strange amalgamation of like mechanical tents. Think like Jimmy Neutron, like when like he has those like little buttons where he like like basically a tent or like something will like come out when you press a button and it builds automatically, and glamping. So
Glamping.
so basically there are these like really high-end tents. There's like light where it's almost like set up where like for a moment you're like, is that electricity? And it's kind of like a pseudo like electricity, like run on like battery power, manpower, like, you know, cranking and stuff. And it's a bunch of these tents with wires and stuff coming out of it, heaters and everything, and some people like, you know, working to keep them going. Like there's definitely somebody who's always on shift who's just like, hey, let's just make sure that there's enough energy going in the whole place. But it looks like really fantastical. It looks like almost like a little circus in the middle of like a very cold wasteland.
Love it. Nice. What's cooking?
These birds that I have in my backpack.
Well, that's for the future cooking.
Yeah.
But currently, some meal is being prepared. What do you think that is?
Definitely. So Ekavir are like high in like meat, specifically like fish, which is Winona's bag. They go ice fishing a lot. There's actually like an ice fishing plot not too far from this. So I imagine that there's like a waft of like fish in the air. And like I also imagine that there's like a pseudo, like there's a garden, and it's not like a real garden. It's essentially like what plants have adapted so that they could grow in this environment. So it's a bunch of weird hybrids. Some that have actually probably been brought over, like the knowledge was brought over by Winona from the dome that, you know, she used to be in with Aurora. So like it would be recognizable to anybody who currently lives in that dome. And so there's like herbs, a mix of like, you know, I don't know, mutant rosemary, and this basil parsley hybrid called Barsley that now exists.
Yes.
And that's what we have. It's just a bunch of herbs, a lot of fish, different types of fish, a couple of grains, but it's kind of like you get this much. You get this much rice and then like this much fish. Like
Nice. And you see this like enormous, like almost putting Shan to shame size Ekavir woman who's just out there like hefting these enormous fish. Like these fish are much larger than like a trout or whatever that you would catch, and like almost person size. Like they have brought in like they're not like whales or sharks, but they're, decent size, and she's just like hefting them on these like really long poles, putting them over this fire and spinning them. And then her husband is just this little fellow who's over there, and he's sprinkling the herbs on it, and every so often he's like, and he turns around, squints at all of you. Oh, Winona's back.
Hello. I know. I was gone for so long.
That
You
was
must have
fast.
missed me
Oh.
terribly.
Were you gone for long? I thought you just left.
I was joking, obviously. Anyways, here are these people that I found outside in the wasteland. Also, this is my cousin, Aurora.
He glances up at his wife kind of questioningly and looks over to, I don't think that's what you really were like supposed to bring back when they sent you out to like find something of importance.
Yes, I know.
More
that.
mouths
Wait,
to feed are really not. Of course, they're
person?
welcome, but
Who's this person's name?
I don't know. What is this person's name? What do you
I think
think?
his name is Gerald.
Okay.
Like, Gerald, look at me. Don't you think I know that? I know I wasn't supposed to get more mouths to feed. One thing led to another, and don't worry, I've gathered quite enough meat to balance out the additional individuals. And they will just be staying for the evening at most, okay? There are other things. I plan on going back there eventually. So relax. Everything is fine. I always work things out in the end? Tell her, Shan. Tell him, Shan. Right?
He just kind of smiles and nods at you. Okay. And he turns and looks at his
killed
wife.
some big birds. I don't know if they're edible, but
I would very much not recommend eating the toxic meat of those avian creatures that were slain.
I have cut out the toxic parts. I'm very thorough and good at my job. Thank you. What is it?
What is what?
No. Gerald, this is what Bruno, Yellow
That's
Jacket.
kind of rude.
No.
He walks up and he
Gerald.
puts his hand up to you. I'm Gerald. What's your name?
To me,
Yeah.
shakes the hand.
Winona's like
What?
pitching the bridge.
Yes. Exactly. What?
What?
Is it having a processing problem?
No, okay, we're not gonna do this all evening, guys.
not.
Okay,
Sounds like
Gerald,
some
I do not have
Gerald?
processing problems, my friend.
its name is WHAT. That is the name.
Oh.
The name is what?
No, I get this. Okay, yes.
Okay.
And
Fantastic.
even though we have hit the frost timer because you are in this area, there's fires going, you are kind of out of the wind. It's not quite shelter, but I'm going to stop it and not have you do a resilience check. However, you're not currently in a point where you're going to start gaining it back. You'll need to get into some warmer shelter for those of you who lost points, to start regaining. What do you think Gerald's wife's name is?
Lysandra.
These names in this.
You put me on the spot,
I'm dead.
and this is what I came up with.
Perfect.
Okay? I'm
Listen.
not a nameologist.
I love it.
I love it.
Lysandra walks over, like looks in the how did you bring the bird back? Like, is it in like a tarp or?
It's definitely in like a tarp that I probably had Shan carry most of it.
Okay.
Jan is carrying the bulk of it, and I'm carrying probably like the equivalent of the filet mignon of the bird.
Okay.
There definitely isn't a filet mignon version of this bird, but like the best parts of the bird is what I got in my backpack.
She's got chicken wings.
Right.
Yeah, I got the
What I'm
wings.
hearing.
Some drums.
Wings and the
some
thighs.
drumsticks.
Like,
Mhm.
So Lysandra walks over and like looks at this, smells it, looks back at Daryl, makes this gesture, and then like kind of hefts it and walks it over, pulls it out, starts like preparing it. It looks like she's preparing it for storage rather than like currently to be cooked. It seems like there's enough currently being made for everyone here and the tribe itself. So
can I wander around and see if there's anything yellow?
make an observation check.
I would like to grab Yellow Jacket by the scruff of their neck. Like,
Also making an observation check. Let's
You would like to try.
right.
I would like to try.
Come on, like me. There you go. Thank you. That is a 19 plus 11.
I'm using my observation for. I'm using my advantage for this because I rolled a 4.
So the advantage only reduces your difficulties.
Right.
That does not
Oh, dang.
allow
Right.
you rerolls.
Okay, so 4 plus 13.
17. Okay. So you don't notice as Yellow Jacket is spots over there. There's this tent that's open. There are people in it. But they're like doing something with this. Looks like it's some kind of board game or something. They're kind of sitting around it, and it has several yellow pieces that are matched against red pieces.
I want to sit and observe and like kind of get the gist of how the game is played.
Sure.
And then like hop in, play the winner, and then if I lose, when I lose, I don't care. I am leaving with like 3 pieces and like 3 yellow pieces.
Love it. Love it. So let's do, to figure out the game, if you're just kind of like hanging out and watching, I'm gonna have you do a we'll call it observation again.
Yeah, is not the smartest boy, so it doesn't matter if I do well on this one. But there you go. 12 plus 11.
Nice. So Yellow Jacket disappears. Yellow Jacket, you go into this tent. It's one of the larger tents, and it seems like there are several people. It's not, as you walk in, it's not a sleeping tent, although it looks like there are some bedrolls that have been like stuffed up against the side. You see that there are some tables set up that they're like collapsible tables, and they're not the only ones playing games. There's some other people playing what looks like maybe card games, but this one looks like there's a board, and it has various like places for these pieces to go, and essentially it looks like it's some kind of strategy game. And as you watch, yeah, you get the gist of it. It takes a little bit, but while this is going on, this is going to actually be your first hour. You're going to get one of your resilience points back as you hang out in here. While you're doing that,
as we see like Yellow Jacket go off, can I like look at the group like, can we go in too? Can we go warm up? Is that?
I think Winona would bring them over to where I guess like me and Shan are staying. So
What's y'all tent look like?
It's like cut in half. And there's like one in the middle.
Rude.
Oh my gosh.
There's a line in the middle that was put there like at the very beginning. It is not respected at this point, but it's fine. But it's like large, it's nice, it's like I said, very glamping vibes. There's like in a corner like a little like couch that is filled with like a bunch of feathers and things of that nature. Like cute little lights that have been hung up that are made out of like I don't know what's in this world. Glass? I don't know. Like,
Fireflies?
you tell me. Yeah, it's
I'm just gonna say I think fireflies is cute. There's like a little cultivated fireflies that we use for lights, and they are there, and I just kind of tap them so that they light up. It's more for decoration than light, but it's still cute.
gotcha.
And there's just a bunch of like little trinkets that like Winona just thought were like fancy looking, that they found out in the wilderness.
Are there any? So Yellow Jacket's not with this group currently. So are there any yellow items in the room that you would like
I'm-
to move for later?
Does she like yellow? Right. Like
The dice have said yes, so yellow is not Winona's favorite color. So I think there would be like maybe one or two, and Winona immediately like puts them somewhere, like underneath her. She puts them in a like tote bag, and then puts the tote bag underneath her bed, and then like attaches a bell to the tote bag.
Okay.
Oh, you think that's gonna stop me?
Right.
Okay.
Can you smell it? Can you smell the artificial yellow dye?
Right.
The red 40 mixed
You
with
don't know you don't know nothing about scabs. It's cool. It's fine.
They have
We'll
sense
find-
yellow. It's a species feat.
I would just like to say when Yellow Jacket comes back in, because very clearly they are not with us, Winona is gonna pat them down. Be like,
So while everyone's kind of like heading off, I'm curious what other people are doing. So what this is, I should ask. So you obviously came into the encampment because you met
Yes.
Gerald. What do you do?
I think what enters into like the outer area of the camp, coming within the camp, but not going any further than that, and is standing there just looking around for all intents and purposes.
Sure.
As far as everyone else is concerned. On the inside, he's processing potential lifespans, who might be suffering from particular illnesses, when it seems likely that this camp is going to move on to wherever its nomadic lifestyle takes it next. This is more for what a analysis situation for the databank.
Yeah.
Because none of this is useful to Ozits. So it's more of a fun exercise.
Sure.
We'll call it.
You do notice it seems like they have recently set up, probably only a couple of days. There's not enough wear that shows much longer than that. You're kind of like getting bio readings of random people. Lysandra is probably the healthiest person that you see. Her husband Gerald, there's a little bit of a cough that he does every so often, and you notice him every so often pull out like this little pipe that he sucks on. It doesn't seem like it's kind of like a vape pen, but it's a pipe. So like there's just like these little things that you notice. And while you're doing that, what is Bruno doing?
I think Bruno is also, I'm going to say, evaluating the health of some of the people in camp, but coming at it from probably a very different perspective. From what? I think the first thing that Bruno is thinking to himself is just the wealth that's on display here. I think he's sort of looking around for like the guards or the weapons, right? Or the reason that this place has not been plundered off the map already.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten the impression that they are like in force or super visible or anything like that. So I think he sort of proceeds to just sort of trying to like eye people up and like figure out like, okay, are you a guard in disguise? Are you, like a secret guard? And then he just sort of gets distracted just evaluating the physique of various people, and his mind starts to wander a little bit, and before long more time has passed than he really realized.
So how long has Bruno lived in the dome?
Not long.
Okay.
He is new to his profession as a hunter, right? And that was something that he picked up in the dome pretty shortly after his exile. So I imagine he's been there for a year or less.
Gotcha. So I'll say with a year, looking around and just kind of trying to generalize the status of people's health just by looking at them. You notice, I mean, you've been living in a dome that radiation has, you know, poisoned the water and sickened people, and like entire generations of people have gained mutations from living it and stuff like that. So there is because you are an Ekavir, there is, I'm going to say it's a refreshing return to a healthy body that's going on in what you see. Like, everyone has 2 arms, 2 legs, most of their fingers. You'll notice every so often there's somebody that's like missing a finger from injury or something like that as you look around. But the mutations from the dome you don't see, and so it's a little alienating for a moment, but this is how you grew up, so it does kind of settle back in as you're looking around. Brie, what kind of...
Could I interject with a potential roleplay moment here for a second?
Absolutely.
I think that what actually observes Bruno doing almost the exact same thing that it is doing, and just very quietly approaches Bruno from the side to the point that Bruno may not observe that what is walking up, and audibly, but not too audibly, simply says, most of their defenses happen to rely upon the uniqueness of the frost. Being outdoors means that not a great many things are a danger to a group such as this. Not such things that can survive long in this waste, anyway.
Oh, yeah, he looks strong, doesn't he?
Strong enough to survive in this situation. It requires a great deal of resilience, one might say.
Definitely resilient.
I noticed that your observance of them was very astute, or at least intentionally done, and I find such things fascinating. Were you observing them for the potential of their weaknesses or for the potential of their strengths?
Yes.
See. Interesting. Very different from the life of a dome, is it not?
You know lots about domes?
I have a great deal of information about domes. That is my responsibility, one might say.
But you wouldn't help them?
That is not my responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yes.
What is responsibility?
Responsibility is a requirement for one's existence. At least, oftentimes, self-imposed, but less than often, but also still relevant, imposed by others. That is responsibility.
But why wouldn't you want to help them?
It is not a question of want or desire.
You're a metal man, but surely you
A metal man.
no want?
A metal man is not a sufficient explanation. And I would caution you that some might consider such things, well, offensive.
Another word for metal man, your word, better word.
You would like a better word for objectifying me?
Yes.
I generally prefer the term technological.
Technological.
Yes.
Technological.
You are often described, at least in scientific terms, as a biological entity.
What are we talking about?
Identification.
I'm Bruno.
Hello, Bruno.
I think at that moment, Bruno just sort of, he's trying to sneak a look back at the fellow that he was checking out, only to discover that he is no longer visible. He's moved on. He's done something else. And there's just a moment of irritation that his the object of his interest has gotten away.
If you are wishing to extricate yourself from the conversation, I take no offense at such matters. I believe that your query directed themselves in that direction.
Thank you, technological. What?
You are welcome.
So, Bree, quick question about the Lovegood layout here. Are there guards, or is it more of a responsive kind of thing? Like, are they currently in tents and stuff, or are they out on patrol? How does your tribe work?
So they're definitely guards. It's probably a rotation. But during the amount of guards that are on rotation are based on kind of statistics. So like the frequency or likelihood of them being attacked, which they have essentially collected through experience over the years. And Ekavir, they are like hunter and gatherer types, but they have pretty high tech weapons. Some even more high tech than like Winona's. Like some of them have a full on laser gun, and it's like a mix. It looks like it's kind of like finders keepers rules. If you find something cool, it's yours, and you you use it.
So no wonder you're just like tuning into what Yellow Jacket's doing. You're just like, I know you. We just met, but I know this. Okay.
I know this. I know you.
So you've headed. So what and Bruno were having this conversation. Yellow Jacket is currently learning how to play this game. What is this game called, Casper?
You
don't have to tell me right now. We can come up with it later.
I was thinking this game was like some very long descendant of chess, but like some mix of chess and checkers. So Yellow Jacket would call it Stones.
Stones. Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, so Winona headed to Winona's hut. Shan, did you go along?
I think since like just generally being out in that area is a little bit warmer, I would have like done some cranking and stuff. But I think I would have kind of followed what at some point, because what seems to have a lot of answers. So I have some questions.
Okay. So you notice this conversation that happens between Bruno and what? After that, do you want to ask those questions?
Yeah. I'll start approaching when Bruno would still be kind of in ear range, and I'm gonna be like, hi, what? I'm Shan. Nice to meet you.
Greetings.
I had a few questions. You seem to know quite a bit about the domes and their functionalities. I had a couple questions.
Very well. I will endeavor to answer any such questions that you might have.
Awesome. Does that perk Bruno's ears at all, or is Bruno like one track mind on?
I think Bruno is tentatively interested. He has trouble following the big words, but the intent seems to be what he's interested in.
Bruno has had to absorb a lot of syllables already.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm from Toxas City. I don't know if you've been there, but
I
there.
don't know, Jeremy. Have I been there?
I don't know. Have you?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, so as you know, and I'll do exposition, I guess. So there's like, it's a big dome. There's a very big central kind of stalactite crystal-looking thing that's part of the radiation, and there's a bunch of smaller ones around the sides of the dome. They radiate a red light, so there's no night or day. It's just red light. That's all day. But it's been failing, and the corporations, they kind of sent me to find something to either like regenerate radiation or to change the type of radiation to try and keep the city going, because it's failing. I guess you were saying a lot of the domes are failing.
Well, yes, all domes fail.
Oh, all?
Yes. Time is not a forgiving element of a dome's existence, and they all fail eventually.
How can you buy time? For
time is not something that can be purchased, unfortunately.
There are corporations that would disagree with that statement, but yeah.
Okay. Do you know any temporarily successful stories of people,
Oh, yes. There are many such stories of domes that have continued their existence beyond the estimated lifespan of when they should have collapsed. But it should be noted that any endeavors for such are often minuscule by comparison to the life existence of such domes. For example, if a dome were to, hypothetically speaking, fall within, say, perhaps the next 3 generations, there is a possibility that one of those 3 generations might be able to extend the life, perhaps one additional generation. But beyond that, the statistical anomaly becomes too great to overcome, and thus the dome fails.
So then we just get used to the cold?
Unfortunately, it is often a matter of no longer existing, I'm afraid.
Bruno says, sort of as if explaining, he won't help.
Won't, or is there just no hope in the long term?
I did not mention hope, did I? If you are inquiring as to whether or not your specific dome will be able to continue its existence beyond its estimated number of generations, I would argue that there is a not insignificant probability that it will go an additional generation, perhaps even 2, depending upon your perspective on the statistics of such things. But I, as an entity, have little sway on whether or not such things can happen.
What can put us in the right direction?
I would argue that you are on the right direction.
What do you mean?
You are doing exactly what your generation requires of you. You are taking it upon yourself, or at the behest of others, most certainly, and still attempting to find a solution to your dome's problem. There are many of your generation not doing such things. And it is those individuals that I would question whether or not they truly wish for the dome to continue or not.
Dr. Penn said, no more expeditions, no more volunteers.
Who is Dr. Penn?
Wise man from Ogygia, the dome.
I see. And your dome, Ogygia, if I am to interpret your words correctly, it means that there are many fewer expeditions taking place now to try to alleviate the faults that are occurring within your dome. Very likely it's radiation containment issues.
I don't know why Ogygia is freezing. Yellow
You have
Jacket.
already reached the stage of heat loss. That is unfortunate.
Bruno nods. Yellow Jacket, Aurora, and I came looking for heat or to fix the dome.
That is very commendable for you. You are doing what your generation requires. I applaud you for such endeavors.
Real quick, let's jump over and see what what Aurora is up to, because that's the one person that hasn't done anything yet. How's it going, Blue?
It's chill. No, Aurora, I think, has walked into the Lovegood tribe a little in awe at how they just have things set up. It's completely new to them. So immediately upon walking in, they had their notebook out and they are sketching like how they have things set up. They're like taking notes. And definitely looking at the heating situation that they have like going on. I think if people are like always, like cranking like the power source, they absolutely went up to them and like, I'm sorry, can I ask you like a couple of questions, and like inquired as to like how that works. And I think after they kind of made their round doing that, I think they would happen upon Bruno, Shannon, and approach with a very like satisfied look on their face, like, I think I did some great research. How are you all doing? What's up? And they like look at what and Shan, and they're like, we haven't had a chance to. Things happen really fast out there. I'm Aurora again. I'm from the dome that we were near.
Greetings,
What
Aurora.
are you guys doing out there?
Well, I'm Shan again. I left Toxass City to kind of figure out how to fix my dome, and ended up almost freezing to death in the wastes. And Aurora helped me, or not Aurora, Winona helped me. Yeah, no, we were looking for something cool to bring back. I don't know if you could. Apparently, you guys don't count, but I'm happy to have met you.
Shan is like so sweet. I love that. Aurora smiles at that, and then I think they turn their attention to hear what's response.
What doesn't actually respond? What assumes that the question was directed at the other biologicals and not at them?
Oh,
So it just stands
upon
there
seeing,
and like their head is turned in the direction of Aurora, but
seeing like what not answer, they'll say, "So what? What brought you? So what brought you out into the cold? You seem to be in a little bit of trouble with that bird."
oh, That was unfortunate, but not entirely unheard of given my intervention on Winona. Interesting name. Yes, on Winona's behalf.
Oh, were you traveling with Winona?
No,
Oh, okay. Do you also come from a dome? If you don't,
no.
okay. I think Aurora's like, I'm probably not gonna get a lot of answers from what, unless they're like very specific. So I think they'll look over in the direction of Winona and Shan's tent and just kind of point the finger that way, and then we'll look at the three. Do you all want to sit down?
Oh, certainly. I would not mind taking a seat.
Walks over to
What goes over, picks
Woody's
up a
tent.
bench and runs off with it. Ha 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 ha. Sorry.
If it was yellow, maybe.
Right.
I guess I'll describe a little bit of Shan's side of the room.
Yes.
Where what is this feeling so sudden and new? But I would think Shan is a little bit on the more bear side, very Spartan. There is a big flag, a big yellow flag for Toxath City up on the wall. By this point, I think Shan has forgotten, or the flag is already gone, one or the other.
I mean, currently Yellowjacket's not here yet, but
At some point. And then, I'd help bring in a few extra chairs for the lot of us and try to make ourselves comfortable. I think I just had a bedroll out or something, so I roll up my sleeping bag and throw it in a corner.
okay.
I think I'm seeing Shan's like flag. Aurora will turn to Shan and say, "So you're also from a dome. How do you guys power it?"
It seems so. I'm not an engineer by any means. So it seems like there is like an inherent radiation that has been powering it for centuries or something, and they kept adding some extra radiated crystals, and I don't know how it works, but it's
Would it
might
sound
offer an
familiar?
If I might offer an explanation, it sounds as though the crystalline resonance of your radiation is harmonic and thus feeds upon itself. But with all harmonics, it does fade over great lengths of time, and often cannot be replaced without entirely replacing the crystalline structures. And unfortunately, there are few biologicals in existence that know how such things are devised, and is unlikely to maintain its cohesion for a great deal of time.
Yeah.
I also believe that, given our conversation that was just taking place earlier, I should preface by saying that your concepts of time and mine very likely are different from one another.
Does Toxath City's situation sound like a GD's situation, like as far as how things are powered?
So when you first heard Shan talking about it, you're like, oh, we have the same problem. Maybe we can find. But listening to Shan explain things, it sounds like their city is powered differently than yours, still through
Right.
some kind of radiation, but Shan hasn't really gone into the history of the city, have you? Yeah, so yeah, there's something there that's different. You're just not really sure what it is.
And then hearing what's like further explanation, I think Aurora would say like that doesn't sound quite like what we are dealing with. So Aurora will take out that little vial they have, shake it up for a second, and like show it to everybody. and they will say, our power supply is failing currently, and it's cooling. But we've been noticing this getting in. I'm not sure if it's of any importance or not. I don't quite know what it is yet. I haven't had a chance to sit down and analyze it, but does this look familiar to anybody?
It does not look familiar to anyone. However, how do you feel about new life forms? Is this exciting to what, or?
What is fascinated with new life forms and has an entire statistical database on the frequency by which they occur throughout time.
So go ahead and make an observation check.
Can I help this check in any way?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to. 29.
29. So you scan it. First of all, you can detect a motion that is not caused by the motion of Aurora moving the vial. It's moving in there on its own. You are picking up some pretty interesting light pouring out of this, types of radiation, and other materials that, as you're scanning it, come back as like fungus or something similar.
That is very fascinating. I am sure that when you have your time to analyze it properly, you will be able to perhaps find as much fascination as I. But for now, in order to steer you in the proper direction, I will inform you that the creature is very likely not going to exist much longer inside of that vial without a dedicated warmth to keep it sustained.
Creature. It's alive? This is a...
Well, very much so.
That's good to know. Just
Cellular
pockets it.
organisms always begin very small. I might
That's
add.
true. This has been leaking into our water. You mentioned people like wouldn't know how to take care of the like reactors, the power structures in Shan City. But how long ago was information like that around? Do you maybe know what areas they may have been in to find remnants of this information of how we can upkeep these things?
I have a GM or storyteller
Sure.
question here, or dungeon teller question. Am I allowed to divulge information about the hive? Or is that considered dangerous to the existence of the hive? Because I don't think Ozits fear biologicals. Fear
Right.
doesn't register for them. And so I think that the only reason that what would not answer this question would be rules.
Yeah. So I would say that generally speaking, super generalized statements about the hive are fine. Anything specific, locations, not
Right.
so much.
Okay.
Also, sorry, just real quick, do a science check. What?
Sure. 24?
24. There is some data that parses that I'm going to send to you that you can
Sure.
handle later if you so choose. Please continue.
The answer to your question is not simple. Let me preface by saying such things as that. The information that you are inquiring about can exist. Unfortunately, it is inaccessible to the vast majority of entities that exist on this world. And I am uncertain as to whether or not that would be the appropriate path for you to be exploring. I also find it very fascinating that you have attached yourself to my persona in such a way as to be an expert on these matters.
You just have an air about you that you seem you are mysterious, but you seem well traveled. I mean, frankly,
Both of those
everybody here
statements
is
are true, I
way
will
more. Everyone here is well traveled except for me, honestly. So
Well,
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would not be too critical of yourself. Most dome dwellers never leave their dome. The vast majority, statistically speaking, stay within the confines of the dome, and many never even see the entirety of their dome. Very few ever venture out, and that is not abnormal in the existence of biologicals.
that's fair. They kind of sigh, like slump back in defeat. Like, I felt like I was getting something, but I'm right back at square one with it all.
What I would be curious about is we should classify it, fungal deviant. The fungal deviant that exists within your vial seems to be but a small, tiny portion, given what you have described. I imagine it exists in a great quantity within the dome.
It does. My mentor, Dr. Penn, has been around it a lot to the point where his hair has even become like tinted as the same color as this, and they'll pull it back out.
I am curious if your doctor has explored the possibility of what it is that has given this fungal deviant its existence, and whether or not the fuel source of its existence is somehow conflicting with the fuel source of your reactors in the dome.
Or links. That is a great question. Has Dr. Penn or has any like research team or science team within the dome researched this stuff, or is it beginning to show up more recent?
It has definitely
in
been
larger quantities more recent times.
Yeah, it's definitely been larger quantities in more recent times. I feel like Dr. Penn has probably mentioned it, or you've seen records of it going maybe 10 years back, 12 years or so, but in much like just kind of random findings here and there. Whereas now it's like everywhere. Also, I lost Brie, so I'm going to refresh and we'll be right back.
Okay. Jeremy's gonna refresh because he lost you, Brie.
Okay, cool.
Well,
Hooray! Okay. So everyone's chilling, hanging out. Actually, you're warming. You're not chilling, you're warming. Everyone has spent time inside and has regained one resilience point one frost point if you lost one. What is the plan from here?
Aurora will confirm and share with what though that it has been showing up in larger quantities in more recent years, and like recalling, research of it being in various spots and it going back as far as 10 years because Aurora's now thinking like, well, that feels possible if this thing is some sort of, I don't know, maybe not a parasite, just another thing trying to find a source of fuel. It could be feeding off of the nymphs, and that doesn't feel entirely like impossible. Do I have a fucking device? I only have a data storage device. I was like, do I have a phone? Like, I would text Dr. Finn.
Right? Hang on.
Okay, yeah. They will just take some notes on what's said, though, with that.
There is an analogy reference to very, very antiquated, sometimes hyperbolic, but often true statement regarding the growth of certain creatures known as algaic growths. These types of living things often double in size over a specific portion of time. And thus, if you observe that doubling and then wait for the next doubling and then wait for the next doubling, it exponentially increases in size more rapidly than most individuals observe or believe could be possible. It sounds as though... I'm sorry. Yes. Bruno.
Does slime cause failure or show
That's what
failure?
I'm thinking.
Is that what you believe the fungal...
Fungal. Does fungal...
Very likely it, when provided with a sustaining energy source, will grow exponentially over very, very short periods of time.
But sign or fungal break?
Break?
Does
you mean
fungal
get rid of?
break heat machines?
Maybe. I don't know, but it's possible.
And I think in this moment, Winona would be like, what are your heat machines, the mechanisms you utilize in the dome, made of?
Let me see if I have it in my notes. I'm on board.
So, Bluu, Aurora knows that the three nymphs, the nuclear towers, they're nuclear reactors, essentially.
Okay. Aurora will say that we have the nymphs. You know, there's three of them. They're these large, they're big ass reactor towers.
So, Jeremy, could I make an argument that I know we absolutely don't have this in Ekavir, but like, do we have like in something equivalent on a small scale that we probably utilize for something else, like something that we utilize in order to grow things in this barren wasteland? Like, it's small, it's just for a couple of plants. Yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely have various power units, but nothing that's nuclear, nothing that's quite that hazardous. And a lot of that stuff probably came from either Ozit make or Dorum make. Dorum are the people who live beneath the surface in their high-tech cities. However, they also... Dorum are using kind of like the heat of the planet's core and such, as opposed to nuclear power and stuff. But when they're traveling about, they're not like, you know, they don't have those little candle things that, you know, a little fan that makes the... I feel like I'm dating myself. Does anyone even know those little fans? You put the candle under it, it makes the fan spin. It's nothing quite like that, but it's, you know, they do have various power stuff that is not nuclear. And as far as what you've been able to purchase from them or scrounge from other places, similar things. You're not using anything that's nuclear to power your camp.
Okay. So I think Winona would just be like, well, if it's absolutely necessary for you to know if for sure if this is the case, I think that trial and error would be your best course of action. We could definitely most likely in the waste find something of a smaller scale that is the equivalent, and you can just drop the little guy in there and see what happens. Or don't.
I will throw this out there. You do have some irradiated bird meat. It's not on that level, but if they are like radiation, nom 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 nom.
Delicioso.
Yeah.
And I think that would like click to Winona, and of course, Blue, you could stop me, but you know Winona. Winona's gonna be like, actually, and Winona's just gonna take the vial from your hands, clip it, like open it up, and just like take out a piece of bird meat and no.
Oh my
Just,
god! Could you imagine?
And just put it in like a little like a pseudo petri dish and just kind of put it in there. Just see what happens.
Honestly, Brie, I want to roll for it because I think Aurora will be like, hold on. Can we just roll like a flat D20?
You just want to roll off?
I got rolled a 14.
Okay, let's see what I get. 15.
Oh. You're like,
yeah.
Oh.
You like that. And Aurora gets like their face absolutely like screws up, but they just curl their lips and like watch what you're doing.
Yeah, you just eat that, and that's okay.
And what's on Miko's camera right now is what happens. A cat just grows out of it. Yeah.
Winona picks it up. This is mine now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And she
it's just this like little glowing loaf of cat.
Oh my god.
No.
Does anything of note happen?
Yeah. Whereas like the liquid for all of you hasn't really been perceptibly moving on its own. Like you've, I feel like maybe the three innies, those of you from inside the dome, had maybe thought you saw it move a little bit last week. But once it's in there with this irradiated chicken, it sits there for a moment and then just like flows across the petri dish and up onto the chicken. And it's weird because it doesn't eat it. It doesn't dissolve the meat. But when it flows away from it and is kind of like exploring the edges of this petri dish, the meat is like desiccated, almost like it had absorbed stuff from it. And once it realizes like there's nothing really else, it just kind of settles into a pool.
So here's my question. When you say desiccated, does it look like, okay, it very clearly took something, but outside of like, from the naked eye, it looks like kind of regular, or it looks like its life force was sucked out of it?
Right.
It looks a little pale or something.
Let's go with in between. Like it is visibly different, but it's not like mummified.
Or like is elbowing Bruno like excitedly, like I think this is it. I think this is.
Winona finds this fascinating, and Winona just kind of like takes some gloves and kind of like shoos it back into the vial, assuming it goes back inside, because there's nothing else there, and then tapes it closed. And then Winona's gonna take the piece of chicken and just start cooking it and see what happens.
Sure.
Winona's doing science.
There is so much science happening to this poor chicken. It
does it explode?
It doesn't explode. I'm trying to like, if you take a piece of popcorn and you try and cook it, it just kind of like blackens and chars and becomes charcoaly. And that's what happens to this chicken. It doesn't cook like you're expecting it to.
Interesting. So when that happens, when I pick it up, does it kind of turn into ash?
It does crumble, yeah.
Anyone want to take a bite? For science.
I don't even
fuck's
want
sake.
to breathe that.
Shan, Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket's still playing games.
Yeah,
Like,
so
what are you talking about?
It's about this time that Yellow Jacket can walk into this room if you'd like.
Okay. So
Brie froze at the perfect time for me.
I will say
think
the
Bree
first
might
thing
have
you
broken
notice, I'm not
the
even going to make
computer.
you do an observation check, is there's a giant yellow flag on that wall right there.
yeah, then I'm gonna go for that. So yeah. Yellow Jacket's gonna slip in while fancy people are burning something. And see if I can sneakily just like take it off and stick it in my bag.
All right, let's do because it is Shan's. Shan, I'm going to have you do an observation check while Yellow Jacket's going to do a stealth.
I feel like what would also be doing would be actively observing such an occurrence as that.
Sure.
There it is. Stealth. Okay. So you just don't have to suck. And oh hey, 16 plus 16.
32. What did
We
Chan
can't hear
get?
you, Kay.
I got a 35.
Oh, nice. 9 total. Okay. If what you do, like catch this out of like the corner of your sensor, is there anything that you do about it, or do you just note it in your?
I need, Casper, I need for you to clarify something for me. What is Yellow Jacket's demeanor as they're doing this? Like, I understand that this is kind of like eye above table, understand that this is like a compulsory thing. I'm very curious how this manifests itself in Yellow Jacket's behavior.
So Yellow Jacket kind of does their best to stay below the radar. So when they come in, it's like, oh, all of my friends are in here. They like tuck the game pieces in their bag and they're like looking around, quickly assessing the situation. Assessing the room, not the situation, just generally the room. There's a smell of burning flesh and they're all fascinated with something
Actually,
in a jar.
You know what? You know that smell of burnt popcorn? How it's just like that much worse than like burnt chicken is? That's what this smells like.
It smells disgusting in here, and they're all looking at something in a jar. And I'm like, okay, I see something of mine that's on the wall. So, Yellow Jacket is gonna just, all right. I'm gonna head over there like I own the it's like I own the place, and just make sure, like, no one's gonna stop me. No one. Okay, cool. And just take it. Without
I think as Yellow Jacket like does that kind of look around the room, seeing if nobody's gonna stop them. What has no eyes? What has a visor? There are no eyes. But I think that Yellow Jacket can see what's ahead, looking directly at Yellow Jacket, but makes no move to stop them.
Okay.
But there is that moment of quote unquote, I see you.
Cool. I'm gonna match your eye contact or whatever. I'm gonna stare directly into your visor and be like,
okay.
And with that, as Yellow Jacket quickly stuffs this flag into his bundle, we're gonna call it for this week.
Nice.
Hopefully, the tech kerfuffles will leave us alone next week. But let's do a round of outros. Hopefully Bree can come back. I don't know. The line has gone dead.
I distinctly heard a thud of something keyboard desk related before Brie froze.
Oh no.
Brie has a cat who often like disconnects their cords.
Oh
Cupcake.
no!
I blame Cupcake.
Oh no. That's
Nice.
awesome. All right. Well, let's see. Let's start with who went last? Ed?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think Ed
So-
went last when we started.
Yes. So yeah, I'm Ed. I played Bruno, who's not actually quite as dumb as he sounds. He just has a really limited vocabulary, and he's struggling to
Learn the
follow up
words.
with some of our more verbose party members. But I've had a great time this evening. Love playing here at Wanderer's Haven. It's always a
Yay.
good time, and I'm really stoked to explore the world of Arrhenius with y'all.
Excellent. Well, let's jump over to Casper.
Ocio. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm on. Yeah, cool. Ocio. I am Casper the MB Ghost. I am a Black and Cherokee sapphic writer of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror that plays and produces tabletop RPGs. So I haunt around the internet wherever I'm welcome. I always love playing Yellow Jacket and exploring this little gremlin even more. This is a blast. I love this so much. You can find me everywhere at Casper DANB Ghost. That's all one word on any semi-decent platform.
But not the not decent platform.
Yeah, not you know the ones.
You know the one. Awesome. Good to see you this week. Thanks so much. Kay.
Hi. What's up?
Hi. Tell us about
Hi.
yourself.
I guess I shall. My name's Kay. I go by Caden Cosmos sometimes. I've been playing Wednesday nights on Folk and Myth in the Eastera game with Miko, as Miko as the GM. And I don't have a lot else going on right now. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Always a pleasure. Awesome. And Brie, welcome back. Good to see you. We're calling it for the night, but why don't you tell us who you are and who you played?
Yeah, so I'm Brie. I played Winona. We both use she, they pronouns. When my cat allows me to be great, you can find me at most avenues as brennanicki. Or you could find me figure out what I'm doing at bizzy-brie.love, which is my website. And if you can't find me in any of those places, you could find me probably in the dark expanses of the universe or inside of your walls.
Or inside. That's what that noise was.
Yeah, it was me all along.
Awesome. Good to see you this week. Thanks so much. Sorry the tech kerfuffles were focusing on you mostly this evening. Miko, tell us about yourself and who you played.
Hi there. My name is Miko. I got to play the Ozit explorer / scavenger named What? It's a blast getting to explore this character further. I'm very much enjoying getting to share the screen with all of these lovely people. If you want to know other things that I've got going on, you should come over and check out Folk and Myth. We're another Twitch stream. We also have presence on YouTube. You can go to folkandmyth.com. You can see all of the other actual play stuff that we've got going on, whether it be D&D, World of Darkness, or any other myriad number of systems and awesome games that we play. Please come check us out. You can also follow me, go to my website to connect all my socials at theoksgm.com.
Nice. Last but not least, Bluu, tell us about yourself and who you played this evening.
Hello, I'm Bluu. My pronouns are they, them. I played Aurora, who's just truly doing their best. You can find me in the internet streets as KingV_, that's King with a Y. Tomorrow you can catch me on Kath and Dungeon Mom's channel for a little bit of Tinder Hollow. It's our little We Are Mad campaign. And you can catch me anywhere Baddie Bards is. This has been a great time. Yeah, fun here.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today. Sorry, I'm just debating on who to raid out to. We're gonna raid over to Blue Cottage D&D, as long as I type in raid correctly. But before we do that, hey, I'm Jeremy. You can find me on the socials at the good socials.
Blue Cottage just went offline. You might want
Just kidding.
to take Blackwater.
I'm still Jeremy. You can still find me on the not bad socials at WH Pubs. This here's my channel. You can tune in on this coming, what is today, Monday? Friday, we're doing some Daggerheart, nearing the end of that campaign, so tune in for that. If you'd like to catch the beginning of this campaign or Daggerheart or any of the other over 300 videos that we've streamed, head over to YouTube and maybe hit that subscribe button because it helps us out. That'd be awesome. Yes, hopefully we will be doing, actually we decided, even if it's Carly and I, we're doing Daggerheart this week. Awesome. We are going to raid over to, hey, Creepshow's on.
Yeah, Creep's on.
We're gonna raid over to Darling Creepshow. Say hey when you get over there. Thanks so much for joining us. Take care, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Be safe. Thanks again. Bye.